Full Void is a game you can point to if you ever need an example of a love letter to a specific game, genre, or narrative themes. Iconic, cinematic 2D platformers like Another World and Flashback are clear inspirations, which makes Full Void just as enjoyable, but also sometimes a little bit frustrating. Starting with the strong focus on visual storytelling and player interpretation, Full Void opens with an ominous, pulsating red portal and a decrepit cityscape. A young teenager flees through a nearby woodland, pursued by a wolf-like biomechanical robot with a menacing red eye. They stumble into the city outskirts, and the adventure begins. Now, I don't actually want to discuss too much, as unraveling and interpreting the story, scene by carefully crafted scene, is the core experience, especially given Full Void is devoid of written notes or voice dialogue that directly tells you what you're witnessing. As you push through the city towards a looming futuristic building with a distinct Omega logo, environmental details and brief flashbacks reveal the world as it once was, and hint at the protagonist's connection to the past. It's the perfect storytelling method for games with brisk pacing and a short runtime, allowing you to piece together your thoughts with few distractions. Much like the games that inspired it, the gameplay mechanics are simple, in theory. There are environmental cues on where to go, puzzles rarely extend more than 1 or 2 screens away, and the chase or pattern recognition sequences only ever offer one correct solution. You can run, crawl, and clamber around with ease, jump or running jump forward to clear hazards, and you interact with switches, boxes, and other puzzle objects using just a single button. The only equipment you need to manage is a programmable drone that can be used in specific locations with a limited string of commands based on the environment. You'll use that same interface and grid overlay to operate heavy machinery and some significantly weirder constructs as you progress. The real challenge comes from pulling off exact movements with careful timing under pressure, mechanics that can lead to jubilation and frustration in equal measure. On one hand, it's incredibly satisfying to pull off the perfect sequence of moves or input the exact sequence of drone commands to get past an obstacle or escape from a pursuing robot with seconds to spare. On the other hand, there are many, many ways to die in Full Void, each accompanied by a brief cutscene, considerably less gratuitous than its peers and befitting the lower age rating. Uncomfortably toothy robots, falls, drowning, scalding steam, incinerations, and electrocution are just a few ways to die. If you're easily frustrated, go in forewarned that chase sequences can often feel like trial and error. Failing any puzzle or chase is almost always a quick death, and even puzzles that don't kill you still mean backtracking or waiting for the precise timing to start again. Mercifully, Full Void has more generous checkpointing than the classics, so it's rare that you'll repeat back-to-back chase sequences or successive platforming sections. Returning to the visual storytelling aspect, what brings everything together, and will keep you pushing forward, is the evocative audiovisual experience. Full Void is a pixel art game, no vector graphics or rotoscoped animations, but it shares the visual style of the classics, with a strong focus on intricate, deliberately paced animations, for both immersion and gameplay purposes. Simply watching a creature chase you down is often more unsettling than the cutscene death that follows. Despite the 2D perspective, backdrops have an incredible sense of scale and depth, with some objects and creatures moving between the foreground and background. When you factor in the vibrant, dynamic lighting, it results in a game where everything feels grounded in the environment. Complementing the incredible visuals are a dominant soundtrack and eerie ambience that contribute to an atmosphere that alternates between a sense of wonder and dread. Wrapping up, Full Void is a solid addition to the cinematic 2D platformer genre. It replicates the best parts of the classics, with visual storytelling and deliberate gameplay, while providing a fresh story, new mechanics, and a slightly more forgiving difficulty. It's not going to change your mind if you've never enjoyed the genre, but for fans, it's easy to recommend, given how rare we see a new release in this genre these days. If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow.